A huge moo to the herd, and welcome to episode 11 of our Automation Empire playthrough. So, since the last episode, I have made a few changes. First change is, instead of having one big minecart track feeding into our factory, I now have two feeding in. I've started an iron mine down here to bring in some additional stock. I've reconfigured the belts a bit, and then one of the other things I've done is the iron factory that was here, which was just feeding our research. I'm now starting to pipe it down into our belts along here. Inside the factory, we now have a full array of refiners going on. And we're pumping out as much resources as possible. Some of the arrays you can see, I've got 6 refiners going into one claw track line. The idea is just to keep as much sitting on those belts ready to be dropped down by any passing truck. My goal is to try and minimize the amount of empty trucks going through. I've got the 2 roads in place, so hopefully we should get a better flow of traffic. Now, what this ultimately means is I have now reached 6,360 kilograms as my 3-month weight output, which means we can now unlock the combiners. So what does the combiner give us? Well, it combines refined resources together into much heavier combined resources by implementing this factory machine into your supply chain. Rather than receiving crates, the combiner outputs resources via transfer tube ports. Okay, so we basically take our crates. So if I go over to our iron factory, which I've been messing around with, what we can do is we can take our iron ore, process that into iron, and then take coal ore. And if we go up here, refiner of iron and coal gives us steel plates. Now, steel plates, if we go to the weight, are worth 13 kilograms per crate. So that's 3 kilograms more than coal on its own and iron on its own. So that's pretty good. The other thing we've got is the cost. So iron plates at the moment are worth, steel plates I should say, 2,760. As opposed to iron, which is worth 1,511, or coal, which is worth 1,370. So really, I want to get the combiners running and producing steel plates as soon as possible for 2 reasons. First, the increased in revenue means we can build some more stuff, which is always good. And second, with the heavier weight, we should be in a position to get more unlocks. So I think one of the other unlocks we want to get is the remote connector, which basically says you can remotely connect to a container from a potentially distant location within a shared factory. The remote connector especially comes in handy when dealing with large combiner systems. So it goes hand in hand with the combiners. So the plan as it stands at the moment is we've got 1.2 million. We've got 5,460 is our current 3-month period. I'm just going to wait for this one to clear. And then what I want to do is I want to reconfigure this factory so that we can take some lines, put some combiners in, and see if we can't get some steel plates coming out. See if we can bump up our weight and cash, and then we can start looking at how can we make things more efficient, more effective, and bigger. Because one of the things I've come to realize, having played this game for a bit now, is it's all very well trying to do things on a small scale, but you've got to go big. You absolutely need to be tapping all the resources. You need to be getting the most out of what you have, but you've also got to make sure the ratios are right. So for instance, I've got 3 mines here at the moment. They produce one every 11 seconds. I've got wait for it to load up. Is there any of those loaded up? Yeah, this one. The refiner will take 1 iron ore, and that will produce 1 iron every 11 seconds. So if that's 1 in 11 seconds, and that's 1 every 11 seconds, it basically means that for every mining rig I have, I need 1 refiner. I've currently got 6. So basically, I'm always going to be running out unless I've got a mass of backlog here. So I want to reduce down what we've got, try and get things more efficient, but I'm also wasting a lot of space. So once we've got our combiners in place and that factory's reconfigured, I've been messing around with a little smaller setup here. Still, I mean, I could reduce this factory by 1 row and make it a bit more compact. I've been experimenting with the claw train tracks, moving those backwards and forwards instead of using the transfer claws. I'm not sure if it's better. I've got to do some more experimentation with it. I mean, they seem pretty quick, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure on it. It doesn't seem quite spot on yet. The advantage of using the claw train track is you can do it all in one line, whereas if I use the transfer claws, I've got to kind of stagger them to get it to work. So it's a little from column A, a little from column B on whether that works or not. So yeah, so let's get started on our main factory. So I think the very first thing I want to do is I'm going to shut down this line here. I'm going to let the refiners do their thing, because basically we want to start getting some iron coming back in, and by shutting this one down I can focus on this line over here. So these 3 here are producing iron, and these 3 here are producing coal. So the output from these 6 refiners I want to put into a combiner. Sorry, these 6 refiners I want to put into combiners and see if we can't make steel plates, and if we can start making steel plates, see if we can get our numbers up. So let's make some space by clearing out all of this, because we're not going to need it for a while. And the other thing I'm going to need to do is, the combiners are going to need space. I'm going to need crate makers to crate up. Sorry, not crate makers. I'm going to need tanks to basically suck up the coal and the iron, and then they need to be outputted into the combiner, and then from that combiner I then need to output that into a crate to then get it onto the belt to get it out. So these are too far forward at the moment, so they need to be pulled back. So let's get rid of those. I do like the fact that you get all your money back when you do this. So you can experiment a lot with what you've got. Feels a shame to waste all this, but hopefully we'll get what we want once we've cleared all this out. Ooh, I wish there was a way of deleting things a bit quicker. Okay. So I have now my container with iron, my container with coal. Why is this belt not running? Ah, okay. Yeah, I've been getting this quite a bit as well. So you can obviously have a maximum of 30 crates per crate maker, and because everything's hanging around on this belt and up here, it means this crate maker can't actually do anything until we get things going again. So I want 6 refiners, and we want to put them as close down here as possible. That's 3. That's my coal, and 2 and 3, and that is my iron. And we're going to, just for the time being, until I've done some more experimentation, I'm going to take you to there, and output you that way, and that way, and then you into that one. So that's that one done. And same for you. We'll pop you as a 2 and you as a 1. Put our claw doohickeys in. And we want you to skip 2. And you to skip every 1. And that should get my iron line done. And similar setup here. So you come out here in a straight line. Sounds a bit easier. You can be a 2, you can be a 1 just to get that symmetry. And 1 there. 1 there. Skip 2. And skip 1. Okay. So now what I want to do is to... What do I want to... I need to put these all into a tank. I just hope I've got enough space to do this. Individual tanks. We're going to need to pop 1 tank around about here. 1 tank about there. And let's have a look at this combiner. Where are you? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Right. So you can bring your stuff in there. So if you were about there and the output is there, let's just drop this down quickly, get the tank sorted. So input there, connect you into that one. Whoops. Little bit trigger happy there. Pop you there. And then we have an output to here with a, I'm guessing, crate maker. And then we can do our unload station to here. And then we could just put our pickup there. Okay. So now we've got to get our pickups, this one and this one, and easily enough all we've got to do is get these 3, combine it in, shove it all along there, job's done. I hope. That's the most efficient way to do this. There's going to have to be step conveyors. Bing, bing, with a right turn, but wouldn't be able to join those. Do I need to go further back? Oh, I suppose that would work. I'll pop that one there, and that one for a right turn there. How would I get the other one in? Oh, I think I have to go further back on this. Darn it. Let's give myself a bit more space. Tell you what, let's lay down the combination first. So I want everything going into one belt. So I want you going into there and you going into there. And same with this one. Ding, ding, ding. 2, 1. And you going into there. You going into there. And then I can now take these 2 belts here. Ideally, I want a crate there and a crate there, which I don't think is going to work because I'm not sure the combiner is going to be able to fit between the 2. It does, just has no transfer tubes, which is not going to work. Yeah. So these need to go wider. which should not be the end of the world. There's a lot of experimentation in this game, and you will mess up many times. Well, I suppose that's part of the fun of the game, actually. Let's pop you further up. Would this work? Hopefully it will. Connector that way, small tube this way, small tube that way, pickup tube, yes, this will work. And then I want a right turn there, and I want a left turn there, and then the last thing I want is unload stations, so that anything empty goes under there. And then what I should be able to do is take my transfer tube. I'm just going to pop this up a bit because that's going to require some more space, and crate maker and unload station. And there we have it. We have our first steel plates. So what do I need? Pickup. There. And we'll just pop that off. And we'll let this pick up the crates as they come round. They can start dropping off here. There we go. So let's have a look. So we've got 5 in there, 5 in there. How many steel plates am I getting? I am getting none. I'm just going to switch this off for a second. I'm curious to see how many you get. So 5 in, 5 in, 1. Perfect. Okay. So that gives me 1 every 9 seconds. Alright, now that I'm moving the steel plates, not the most efficient way yet, I agree, but it's a good start. And hopefully our money should start rocketing through the roof, and we've got our first combiner in. It's not doing a great deal though, it does take a bit of a time, so clearly I'm going to need a lot more combiners. I suppose this is one of the reasons that the remote connectors, is it remote connectors? Yeah, remote connectors could be useful depending on how they work. Because I might be able to tidy things up a little bit, because it's all pipes and tubes and everything else out the way at the moment. But I am pleased we've got our steel plates running, and they are, say, 13 kilos. So it's slightly more, but I suppose, is it, or is it a loss? Because I should be getting 20 kilos and all I'm getting is additional money. Just switch this off for a sec. I'm curious. Yeah, 1 every 9 seconds. Combines together 2 resources, creating new resource in the process, taking resources from the side ports, outputs the final product to the front, must be built in a factory. So aside from the money increase, you're actually losing stuff. Because if this is 10 kilos per crate, and that's 10 kilos per crate, then you're only getting 13 kilos, but I suppose you are getting a lot more money. So let's switch it back on. That's a bit of a bummer. I thought I was going to get a lot more weight through that, but clearly not. But hey, we're still getting it, and I need the steel plates anyway to do some research. Specifically for freight trains and gold as well. I think remote connectors are basically what I need to work on next. We're a fair distance off. Yeah, we'd need just under 3,000 kilos more. So I've got a combination. I've got the additional iron coming in from this one. I've got steel plates from here. So it does make me wonder if I should just focus on tidying up this factory to maximise the amount of refining, and seeing if I can up the weight considerably. Because whilst it's nice having steel plates, if they're not going to give me a weight boost, all they're going to do is give me a cash boost, they're kind of pointless. I must be reading this wrong. I mean, why would you go through all the hassle of getting steel plates if it's... I mean, it's even like 2,800 for coal and iron, so it'd still make more money just shipping both those out. And that's with a bonus in place. Very, very puzzling. I mean, it would make sense if, say, like you took the coal, you took the iron, one of each, and that combined together to give you 2. So, like, you were getting 26, so that's a bonus of 6. That would be a significant improvement. But if you're not getting that, then why? I'm confused. Right, so let's focus on getting more stuff. So what I was doing over here by my factory, just claim some more, was trying to make a very small setup with what I've got, so that my thinking was that I could set up some mines, set up these very small factories at each of these mines, and then basically ship the refined stuff over to what would effectively become a distribution hub. So the idea would be to ship everything over here, have my belts and trucks and everything else moving everything backwards and forwards, and just move things rapidly so that I can get more weight coming through. Because at the moment 6,360 is my best. My power costs are 42,000, monthly tax costs 189,000, but I made 314,000. So I'm not doing too badly cost-wise, but I need to get that weight up, and that's where I seem to be lacking at the moment. And the only way I can do that is just to do big movements. So what I was thinking is if I set up a little refinery here, add this coal into the mix, another refinery in there, trim this down a little, and have a refiner in there, and a refiner down in here and at the bottom, and then just have one big mine train that offloaded to large storage tanks. So it would just go around the perimeter, pick up everything you can, offload to the large storage tanks. They would output to crate makers, which in turn would then distribute to, I think it would try and get some additional roads in, if I could get that setup done, and take it from there. I have to say, I am a little bit disappointed with the combiners. I had hoped that they were going to be better than this. Maybe if I get the remote connector unlocked, I could probably do some different setups that might make things more efficient. It just, I don't know, I must be missing a trick here, because to me the combiner based on this just doesn't seem worth it. I mean, 13 kilos versus 10, you know, that coal there is 10, that iron there is 10. I shipped 2 crates of that out. Wait a sec, let's do some maths. So 6 crates, that's what, 78 kilos. So I suppose per truck, no, that's not right. Yeah, it is 78 kilos per truck. I get 18 kilos more. So that might be where the bonus is. So for each truck that goes out, I'd get 78 kilos rather than 60 kilos. So, and that 18 kilos extra could be useful. I'd need fewer trucks, which makes it more efficient. And I suppose that would work. Okay, so maybe that's what I need to focus on. Right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to end this episode here. We've got our combiners running now, which is great, but now we need to get the weight, and we need to do it in a grand scale. So I am going to work on my little refining setups at each of these areas. We're going to ship it all into a distribution area. This distribution area, I think I'm going to have multiple combiners basically taking the coal and the iron and see if I can ship more weight by instead of having the iron coal, just for each truck, instead of it having 60 kilos of weight, we'll have 78 kilos of weight, and an improved amount of money. So I'll do a bit of the tidy up off camera. Goal for me is to get as much weight as possible to get the remote connector on, but the big one is unlocking the freight train, because I like trains and I think it could be really cool. So I hope you join me for the next episode. Until then, I wish you a great day. Bye.